So welcome to Humans of Wellbeing. Welcome back for those of you that have been following us. Today we kick off a chat with Dan. Hello, Dan.
Hello.
Dan and I have worked together before, so it's really great to be on camera again with Dan. We've done this before in corporate organisations. So it's nice the dream team are back together again.
It's good to see you again.
So I know something that we often talked about was around mindset, and often a lot of the videos we recorded for one of our corporates that we were working with at the time was around mindset. And I know from that there was a real love of books for you.
Yes, yeah.
So I guess linking actually to some of the stuff that we're doing within Well Plus at the moment is around a book club. What would you say is your favourite book and why?
If I had to choose one book, I don't know, to be honest, because a couple of books stand out to me.
Yeah.
The Last Lecture by Randy Pausch is the book I've read the most.
Okay.
But then each time I've read that, I've taken something different from it.
Okay, so tell me a bit about that book, because I've not come across that one before.
Randy Pausch was a professor.
Yeah.
And at the university he worked at, they were running a series where each professor had to do a hypothetical last lecture.
Okay, yeah.
So it was done every month or so, and then each professor had to do a lecture on basically if it was going to be their last lecture, what would they do about how would they leave a legacy. Unfortunately, a month before Randy's, he got diagnosed with terminal cancer.
Oh.
So it really was his last lecture. And it was just all about kind of him planning for his lecture, the last few months of his life, and how he still managed to stay focused, and I guess it kind of made him really prioritise what really mattered. And it is a really, really interesting book. In fact, my girlfriend's reading it at the moment, so I've kind of forced her to read it. But really, really interesting. So I'm a very slow reader, but I managed to read it in a couple of days, and I've read it 2 or 3 times since.
Yeah.
So I'd highly recommend that book. Yeah. Very easy read as well. A book we've spoken about before as well, The Power of Now. Yeah, but again, that was very much, I feel like I read that at the right time to get the most out of it. Yeah. Because I've tried reading it since, and I've not been able to hold much interest. Yeah,
it doesn't resonate as much.
It doesn't, and I read it at exactly the right time.
The Power of Now.
That's it. I read it exactly the right time, to where I was able to get the most out of the book.
And isn't that fascinating? So one of the things that come to mind with that is that the power of now and the essence of what that really means for all of us, and the message that he was looking to convey in that book. And equally, the book that you mentioned previously, where he was preparing for his last lecture, and both of the connection for those with me is around it's about time, and it's about now.
Absolutely, and making the most of your time.
Yeah, and I guess one of the threads in both of those books that I'm hearing is linked to mindset as well. What was it within both of those books that really spoke to you in relation to either time or mindset?
In fact, the first time I read both books, it was round about the same point of my life. Yeah. And I think one thing I struggled with was organising my time, prioritising my time, but not from a work perspective, more from I don't really know how to describe it. I guess both books could be described as self-help books, and I think I needed maybe a little bit of inspiration or a little bit of guidance to. I don't know. It's difficult to explain.
So, what was that feeling that you were looking to fulfil at that stage or acknowledge?
It's a difficult one. I think it was a few different feelings, but I think at that time in my life I was really kind of sounds really cliche, but like kind of discovering my purpose, and I was really like learning a lot about myself at that point as well, like what my beliefs were, like what I stood for, etc. And really focusing on what I deemed to be important. So nothing like materialistic or anything like that.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah, the power of books. And what they can teach us about ourselves.
And the book that you recommended, actually, Deep Work by Cal Newport, that I read, that was the last book I read. I found that really, really good as well, but for a very different reason. So that was more like literal. Literally organising your time from a work perspective. So like self-help of a different variety. But that was really, really good as well.
Fantastic. So the other thing that I'd really like to explore with you, I guess I didn't say at the beginning, apologies. Do you want to just give a little bit of background of what you do on a day-to-day basis? Because I think this will help the people watching this really understand how it links to where we're going to go now.
Okay, right. So my current role is fitness manager and personal trainer at a gym for kind of a leading corporate company, which is how we met. So my day is very varied. So it can be dealing with clients on a one-to-one basis on the gym floor, or something I enjoy very much is taking people through clinical health assessments, to managing my own small team of instructors and personal trainers.
So you very much are within the system of both providing health, fitness, well-being related guidance, advice and support to individuals that are working in a corporate environment.
Absolutely.
Whilst you're in it as well at the same time. So you really see that whole jostle of work and life and the balance in that.
Exactly. I mean, I work on campus every day, so I see how people are in the gym. I see how people are at their desk. And I've been here 3 years now, so. And not too much has changed, I don't think.
So there's some common themes. So let's talk about those. What are you seeing?
I just think the way of the corporate industry now, where there's a certain expectation that people are accessible. Like having emails on phones, etc., or instant messaging services between employees and clients. If you think about what a typical full-time job consists of, 40 hours.
Within an office environment.
Within an office environment. So we're talking around 40 hours. I mean, who works 40 hours nowadays? I think if people actually added up the time that they spent working, it would be considerably more.
Which is something that we touched on with Dan Roberts as well, is around the amount of hours that most people work nowadays and the tools that we have access to, the encouragement of that if there's no boundaries around it. So with the people that come into the gym and that you're working with over those last few years, what have you started to see as being kind of the themes or the topics that crop up for them when they're training with you or when they're training down here?
There are some key themes. Posture being one of them. But from like a mindset perspective, I just realised the same thing. But from a mindset perspective, stress levels, and I mean you'll see people in the gym on their phone, answering emails, etc., etc.
So it's always on.
Always on. Always on. Which I don't see as a good thing.
Why?
I think it's important for a work-life balance that you have that time completely disconnected from work. I guess it does depend who's in your team and who your managers are and what job you do within the industry, obviously. Because if you are a person that is replying to emails on a Sunday evening, then there's going to be that certain expectation with your team as well.
Yeah. It's almost behaviour breeds the behaviour.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Like you kind of reflecting reflecting from the top down and stuff like that. And I don't think it's efficient. I don't think it's productive. Yeah. I think just enjoying that time off is also going to aid you with your work. Yeah. I don't think it's a smart way to work, even though sometimes it does get deemed as smart. Yeah.
And in those last few years, what has the impact of that been with you working with your clients or working within the environment, of the gym environment that's sat within a corporate business? Kind of what does that start to create for people or for the system?
I'm not too sure. I deal with, or I work with quite a variety of clients.
Yeah.
I mean, I work on a big campus here, so you get people coming in that are kind of semi-professional athletes, to people that have never experienced a gym before.
Yeah.
So I guess if it were a smaller campus, or for example, if it were a call centre, for example, you'd see a lot more themes and etc. But because it's quite a wide variety of different occupations of the campus I work at, there's not too many themes.
Yeah.
Does that answer the question?
Yeah, no, I understand what you're saying. You're kind of looking at, you've got this continuum of different people that are on this scale of people that are very aware of their energy levels because of them being a semi-professional athlete, as well as having a day job, versus individuals that are working within the organisation and are choosing to find a way to get fitter and healthier.
Yeah.
And they're very new and curious to do more around that. If we look to the individuals that are kind of like the semi-professionals and at the same time they're holding down a job or a career profession, what are their levels of awareness around that kind of always-on mentality? Is it that?
I don't want to say no, because I don't see them 24 hours a day, but I do think that if I look at the higher level athletes, it's either not there or they deal with it very well.
Okay.
Because it's they almost have a focus that, like, you can kind of you can see from the outset that before you see them train or before you have that conversation with them that like I don't know whether it's just an attitude to training where they rigidly block out that time with no distraction. I mean, they could well be in the gym for 45 minutes, go home, and then be up till early hours in the morning working. That's not what I see.
But you see this element of focus and separation.
Definite separation, like just work is finished or everything else is finished. This is time to do this, and then once that's finished, we'll go back. But there's not that multitasking where you're half thinking about this and half thinking about this. So they're very much in the moment when they train. But I mean, for me personally, it's regardless of what. People I do the health assessments with, people I do personal training with, regardless of what their goal is, the biggest achievement for me is never physical.
Okay.
It's always like emotionally driven or health related.
Yeah.
As
Tell me more
opposed
about
to
that.
So I guess like if someone comes in and they're new to fitness or new to kind of working out, they're up in their activity levels. Like if they lose 5 stone, for example, and they get to the end and they turn around to me and they say, you know what, it doesn't feel like a chore anymore, I really enjoy it. the standout achievement personally for me.
Yeah, okay.
Because it's almost a change in mindset,
yeah,
a change in habit,
yeah.
a change in lifestyle. So
yeah.
it's a more sustainable long-term thing that I know is going to help them and going to help everyone around them in their family and going to help people around them, rather than just losing weight and things like that. But something that isn't going to have that same impact long term. Yeah. Potentially.
Because weight, I guess, can fluctuate down and up throughout a person's life.
I mean, that's just one example. But I mean, I've had clients that have started training through like bereavement and have been very open and upfront that they're training for kind of emotional reasons. And I always try to find an emotive response when we're setting goals and daily habits and stuff. But if I can improve people's mindset and just the way they live, and to be honest, that's why I enjoy health assessments so much, because we're sat down for an hour, we're having a conversation. I can touch on a lot of different things within the hour, and I can really kind of ask questions and probe a little bit more down different avenues and really work out why that person's here and what's motivating them. Without the, in a one-to-one personal training session, primarily, you're getting that client to move and improve physically.
It seems what you're saying is that when you're sat with someone and you're going through that, the questions and starting to discover parts of why they're in that chair with you, why they've contemplated that, it's on a deeper level.
And sometimes they haven't, like the person I'm sat there having this conversation with, they're having to really think about why they're there. Because on the face of it, they might, an obvious answer is, I want to put on weight, or I want to lose weight, or
but that never really
I want to run this far, or I want to. But no, it's not. It's never. That's never the reason that they're there. That's just like where's that number come from? Why that number?
And it reminds me a lot of a couple of the books we've been reading around your outer world is a reflection of your inner world. So the very fact of I want to look in a certain way is very much looking at what can I do in my outer world to achieve a picture that I have in my mind, or a picture that I had with me 10 years ago, and etc. etc. Whereas you start working on the inner world, the inside, your mind, your energy levels, that naturally shifts into your outer world.
Absolutely, that's gonna make more of a difference. I think.
I agree.
I definitely think. I mean, when we were training together, it was. I think you were a little bit different because obviously you've had the experience in this sort of industry, and you very much knew what you wanted to. It wasn't. Because you had definite goals, there wasn't that kind of as much conversation, trying to peel the layers back. But I really, that's what I enjoy most about my job, to be honest.
That deep work.
That deep work.
Which takes us full circle. So if we kind of look at some of the books that we were discussing, which I'm definitely going to read the other one. That sounds really fascinating.
That's really good.
But it's the essence of wellness, of health, of being in a place where you are fulfilling your capacity as a human being, is when you do deep work. And when you acknowledge the very essence of now, and how precious time is for us. Not in a linear sense, although sometimes that may be the case, I think, but also in the sense of where you are within that and how you feel about it. I want to just go back a little bit in terms of you were talking about individuals that would be in the gym working out, or clients that we'll be working with, and this ability to there be a desire or a requirement or whatever it is that is for that individual to be on their phone, maybe sending emails or feel like they have to have it in the room with them in case somebody calls, or just because of the nature of their role may not allow for them to be able to take time out during the day, or they feel like they can't take time out during the day for them. What advice or what tips would you give?
I have never, although I'm based in a corporate environment, I've never had a corporate job.
Yeah.
But I would, I think that everyone has the ability to choose not to do that. I do think it's a habit that's not going to be easy to get out of.
Yeah.
And it might be ingrained into a team or a business or an individual. But I do think that it's not necessary.
Yeah.
Something I do with clients when I'm goal setting is we try and identify their main obstacles to their goal. So we set their goal and then we cut that down to like daily habits, etc. And then we identify their main obstacles.
Yeah.
And then once we've done that, some of the things you're never going to be able to eradicate, but it's just coming up with kind of solutions to manage that a little bit better.
Yeah.
So, for example, if a main obstacle for your health and well-being is work, your mobile phone, your laptop, whatever it may be, then you can try to remove that emotional attachment to that, and then logically think, okay, if this happens, what protocol am I going to put in place to minimise its detrimental impact? And as to what that is, I don't know. It's going to change with each individual, I think.
And linking to that, so I've been working in various corporate environments very recently, and one particular place where I've been going into, what screamed out at me is that individuals not prioritising eating. So there would be factors. So they would get into the office, and it would be meeting. Lunch, just going to go and dash and get for 5 minutes. I'm just going to go and get my lunch, and then I'll come back. And then, do you mind if I eat this whilst we have our meeting? And meeting. And I mean, that's what I would call, and this is where I get from Danielle, this is like a fundamental, like we all need to eat. Yet it's squeezed into the day. So then what success do people have in relation to carving out even any time to do movement, exercise, anything like that? So I can see why that crops up in your conversations with individuals about barriers, because if people are struggling to even find 15 minutes, 30 minutes to be away from their desk, their phone, their laptop, to eat food, then where does that leave them in relation to exercise and movement?
I agree. I don't think it's a good environment to be in, where everything's always a rush and everything's always like panic working almost. Where I've got 5 minutes to eat, I've got X amount of time to do this, and everything's always like for this person.
It's perpetuating stress in the work environment.
And a lot of the time, I do believe if you were to slow down and stop and think, that you would actually get more done as well. You're going to be more productive, you're going to be better fueled, you're going to be better prepared.
Yeah.
I mean, I went to Italy this year, and I know other European countries are very different, but I know they treat lunch very differently, and it's more of it's not an on-the-go thing.
It's a ritual.
Yeah, it's like a take time out, socialise, enjoy.
Yeah.
Because a lot of people, food isn't enjoyment anymore, or it's not a place where you're spending time with your family. It's not a place where it's just a thing that you have to fit in somewhere.
Yeah. And somehow.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
But we seem to be culturally very different over here.
Yeah.
Very different.
And I think this is something that we're almost, from the conversations we're starting to have with various people, and and anyone else that wants to talk to us about this, it's starting to peel back the layers of why is this happening? Like, why do we all feel? And I've been, guilty of it myself. I've been there.
Oh, we all have.
We've all gone down that rabbit hole of living this life which is not sustainable, is not healthy. You will burn out eventually. You will get ill. Any one of those things are going to happen. Like, you've experienced that. I've experienced that. The people that we've spoken to have experienced that, and we've all kind of come out of it and gone, do you know what? There's another way. Like, just stop.
Yeah.
This is why we're doing Humans of Wellbeing. So it leads me on to the question of, like, what do you believe is a human of wellbeing?
I'm really scared of ask that question. A human of wellbeing. I watched a video with Dan, and you asked him the same question, similar question, and I've been driving to and from work every day trying to put well-being into a phrase, like trying to explain what well-being is.
Yeah.
And it's really difficult to put into words. I mean, working in the industry for 3 years, and I can't tell you.
But this is what I love, though, because it's a word that's used.
Yeah.
I use it. It's part of my company and what I do. I use it. But it's a buzzword in the industry.
Yeah.
And there's less conversation, which is what I'm trying to prod at, with actually what is it? What do we mean by it? And, you alluded to the previous conversation around, what is well-being, and it's different things to different people. And
that's one thing I was going to say.
Yeah.
What well-being is to me is going to be different to what well-being is to you.
At different stages of our lives.
Yeah. I mean, well-being to me, although I see it as being kind of a holistic, kind of encompassing stuff like social, mental, physical. Very much, for me, well-being is very much mental and emotional, primarily.
Yeah.
Because I feel that regardless of my physical condition or my physical state, that's overridden by my mindset towards that.
Yeah, I so agree. So when we were just, before I wind it back, you mentioning it's really hard to put some words around it.
Yeah.
And I totally agree. Like, my words I put around it might be different to what I put around it next week or the week after.
Yes.
Fluidity, I think. And it's beautiful that we've got like this guy here and the water in the background. It reminds me of this fluidity and the flow of well-being. So if we didn't have words to describe what it means to us, how does it make you feel as a human of well-being?
I think it makes me feel happy, angry, everything, like all the emotions. Because I think that when we're talking about well-being, people think of all the positive connotations towards well-being, and maybe that plays a part in alienating those that maybe aren't in that place.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because it's so normal to be sad and to be angry and to be ashamed and embarrassed and all those what perceived as negative. Yeah, exactly.
That's life.
But it is absolutely normal to feel that.
Yeah.
And I think especially with social media, which is kind of like a highlight reel of your life, I guess. If you're following your favourite people on social media and they always seem happy, I guarantee you they're not.
So this whole essence of humans of well-being is the acknowledgement of our feelings, no matter what they are.
Primarily, to me, primarily, I'll probably be driving home later and change my mind, but I think for me, it's 70-80% mental, emotional.
Yeah.
And then, because ultimately I think that kind of dictates your social well-being, your physical well-being, your career, your personal life, your family life.
Yeah.
I think so.
Yeah. The conversation continues. Thank you so much for joining and listening to our conversation here with Dan today. Thank you, Dan.
Thank you.
And we will continue the conversation about what it truly means to be a human of well-being. Thank you very much.